Good morning. I'm Alex Priori, and my company is RENOX, and we work here in Italy. And we've been working for over 20 years in the Italian market with high-performance lubricants and special filtration units, especially 1i filters. And it would have been great to be there. I'm sorry I couldn't be there, but I had some things to do here in Italy, so I wasn't able to make the trip. And for our presentation, I just wanted to give everybody a summary of what kind of applications we deal with here in Italy and what kind of results we've had with 1i technology. Not only hydraulic and pneumatic, but all over various types of rotating machinery and process applications. So if you can hear me correctly and well, I'm going to start and show you some slides. For example, this is the first one. Then you can interrupt me anytime you want if you want any questions. This is an application where we, a couple of years ago, maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, we applied it to an old steam turbine in a Solvay chemical plant. 1974 Etcher-Weiss turbine, which is now under man turbo. And this is the lube oil system where they had problems with the normal filtration unit. And so we applied a scrubber before that filtration unit. And the results that you see here on the right are up to 12 hours of just circulating the lube oil through the turbine. And the turbine wasn't even turned on yet. So this is the kind of result we had just from cleaning out the sump. And of course, they got better reliability on the turbines, bearings, and of course, the filters lasted much longer. Same thing for these turbines. These are steam turbines. They have a demi-water cooling system where they have Y strainers, but they weren't doing their job correctly just with the normal filter mesh. And they were seeing rust in the water. So we added some rods into their existing Y strainer. And this is the results we have every month. They clean them out, and this is what they find. Then we try to apply this technology to the fuel, diesel fuel, and also methane gas. So I showed some examples here of a refueling station of an Italian bus company where we applied the scrubber outside of the normal filter, the paper filter that's inside the gas station. And these are the results that we get. And they clean it out every 2 or 3 weeks. And they've had much better results against injectors. And the whole fuel system is run better. Talking about gas, this is an interesting application. In Italy, because in the winter, we have problems sometimes with natural gas supplies from Russia. So the Italian National Gas Company stocks surplus of gas in the old wells. And these wells, maybe during the summer months, just sit there full, and then in the winter they pump out the gas, they feed it to the system, but the gas has to be first stripped of contamination like water and ferrous particles. So they use glycol, and they like make a rain system on top of the gas with this glycol. The glycol picks up all the humidity and contamination, and then has to be filtered again because it's a closed loop system. This is a 1 million liter glycol system to strip out the gas. And they had existing Y strainers, and we put in the 1i rods before the pumps, and this is what they pulled out. So now the normal sack filters for glycol last longer, and the pumps last longer, and they don't have to change out a lot of glycol. Okay. This is an example that I got to use from compressors because we're really strong on refrigeration compressors. And so this is on an R22 refrigeration gas compressor in a manufacturing plant that makes PTFE, grease, and PTFA oils. It's one of the only 3 or 4 in the whole world that makes these products. They had problems with the reliability of the refrigeration compressors because the compressors need to stay at a certain temperature to produce the PTFE. And so they were having a lot of contamination issues and filters clogging up due to the rust in the piping and everything. So we put a rod inside one of their pre-filters, and this is the first time they opened it up. You can still see the frost on top of the contamination. This is probably one of the oldest applications we've had here in Italy. It's a huge, huge lathe that forges and makes holes in 30 tons of cast iron to make presses. And this is on the water emulsion unit, the unit that filters the water emulsion. It goes back to the lathe for cutting fluids. And this was put on 2007. It's been battered quite a bit. And this was inspection in 2016, and you can still see the magnetic strength is pulling out everything. Then we got into some very nice applications, difficult applications, but with turbines, wind turbines. This was a test we did with Vestas in the south of Italy, where we substituted a Mahler filter, spin-on, with an Advantage 9000. This is a refurbished gearbox, brand new under warranty from Vestas. First oil fill, and this is the first time they took down the filter to clean it after about a month of service, and this is what they found. And they were completely amazed at the result. They couldn't believe that this was what was inside their gearboxes. Let's go ahead. Another application where I had also Roger over 2 times to help us out on this. This is with the Italian National Gas Company's NAM, where they installed a unit, a vessel, in line, directly from the line to a methane gas filling station for the buses here in Italy. It was mounted in 2013, and this is the 3rd inspection we did in 2017. And this is the result that it's happened. They had never had to blow the lines for black powder since 2013, and they never had a valve problem on their compressors where they recompress the gas to put it into the buses. So they're quite happy with the results. If you can see the picture, I want to show you that Roger is with us sometimes, and he does work with us, not only drinks wine with me, at a ThyssenKrupp steel mill where they make turbine shafts. And what we did is we had huge contamination problems on this old machine that cuts and lays the turbine shafts. The oil system was really contaminated. The filters were clogged up, and so the system would be shut down all the time. And to stop one of these lathes from turning, it takes a lot of time. And to rebuild it back up to speed, it takes a huge amount of time. We applied a scrubber on the unit, and this is what it pulled out after every week or every 2 weeks of inspection. This is an interesting boiler manufacturer. They make water boilers, and they have a press that on the left presses these discs of metal into a dome shape. And the pressing creates small metal particles where they have to be washed and cleaned before they can get painted. The problem here is that the washing machine that you see on the right would be cleaning off the domes, but also re-putting back on the particles again because the water wasn't filtered. So when the domes would go into the painting department, the paint wouldn't stick. So we had 2 applications here on 2 different washing machines. One, we would apply the rods directly into the piping system on the pickup for the pump before it would go on top of the domes. Or here in the second application, we could put the scrubbers directly inside the water because being stainless steel, they have no problems with rusting or anything. And this is the result they have every 4 hours. Every 4 hours, they have to clean the scrubbers. And now the metal, for them, they can almost sell it. They take it away free. And the water, the detergent in the water lasts 3 times more. Okay? Here's another cutting machine in another plant where we did a test. This is not the best application, but we wanted to put an Advantage 9000 after their filtration system. But this system produces so much contamination that the Advantage 9000 was almost imploding. But just to show you the results that it had, what it picked up after the first time they opened it after a couple of days of work, after 40-micron paper filters and other filters on the system. This is typical application here in Italy and in Europe for cutting machines, where they'll dump all of the contaminated liquid onto paper. The paper gets contaminated, it gets holes in it, and all these particles, fine particles, pour through, and they have bad contaminated water. The paper is also very, very difficult to dispose of here in Italy because nobody wants to take it anymore because there's metals inside. So the cost savings are huge, but for this application, they would need a bigger scrubber or multi-scrubber application. This is interesting. Offshore gas rig in the Adriatic Sea. Glycol, also again, contaminated. There's about 15 kilometers of glycol lines here that are going through the process. And they have problems because the valves get clogged up, the filters get stuck, the metering valves aren't reading correctly. So they wanted to add some kind of unit to filter it. And they had huge problems with paper media filtration being clogged up and having to take it off the rig frequently. And it's an unmanned rig, so they go to see it every 15 days. So they needed something in service that could last that long. We tried a small scrubber, of course, because everybody wants to start small. And this is the result after 4 days. Then they went to a bigger scrubber, a 24-inch scrubber, and this is what they saw in 3 days. So now we're talking with them to have a multi-scrubber unit that can last them 15 days without having to clean. All right, a few more. This is a very interesting application of a very corrosive product that erodes all the metal piping. It's trimethyl siline, and we had to design a special scrubber. This Roger told us to have a high-pressure scrubber with flanges for the pressure they need in the system, and this is right before it goes into the process. They have catalysts and all these other kinds of delicate machinery that if any of that contamination gets inside, they have to shut down the process. And this is what it picks up every time. And you can see on the right, this is what the scrubber picked up a year after we first installed it. So it's always picking up all eroded pipe contamination, black powder, all sorts of stuff inside this delicate process that they have. Another refrigeration compressor. This is a typical application that we do in Italy on ammonia refrigeration compressors where they have a cone filter in their pre-filter system.
Charging.
They don't want to change out the main filters because the main filters don't have double end openings, so it's very difficult to put a rod inside. So we put them in the pre-filter. They only have a cone strainer. This is the first time they opened it. This is from the lube oil coming from all the ammonia piping that is not dry. It can have water in the system, rust and contamination. And so we mount these quite frequently, especially on Mycom, Cobelco, Howden, Grasso compressors. Anywhere there's a pre-filter unit, we try to put a rod inside. We have one plant here in Italy that's one of the biggest vegetable plants in Italy. They have 37 compressors, they have 37 rods in their pre-filter system. Let's go ahead. This is a Lucky application on a hydraulic press, where the press was brand new, and after a couple months of service, it was making a lot of noise, a lot of vibration. They found out that the pump was going into failure, but they couldn't stop production because they make biomedical applications like syringes and catheters and everything. So it's a very delicate application. They can't go around the machine too much. We decided to switch out the Mahle filter, spin on with an Advantage 9000. Then we took the machine to complete failure, where the pump died. This is all the metal that it picked up. There was no other wear in the machine. And so then they were able to get a new pump, put on the machine, do the service, just change out the oil, clean the filter, and it's still running with this filter on it now. Last application that's brand new was last month. This is a little bit delicate that Roger and I think Robbie helped us out on. It's a solvent extraction process at a chemical plant where they use a solvent called hexane in the process and a PAO oil to absorb the hexane in the process. It's the same kind of process when they make bean oils. Okay? They use steam also to boil out the hexane from the PAO oil. But what remains in the oil is rust from the piping because the hexane eats the pipeline. The rust is contaminated with water, and so it stays in the PAO oil. They're having very difficult situations of taking out the rust under 5 microns. They've been working with PAL to find out if they can find a special media that can do it, and they can't find anything. So we're trying to combine some new technology I have with some one-eye technology. So what we did is we did a temporary line with 2 scrubbers. This is off advice from Roger that we plumb in the system and we let the PAO circulate through 2 scrubbers. And then we put 2 rods at the end to see if they capture anything. And this is after 30 hours of circulating the oil on the 23rd of August. And this is after 1 week. You can see that it's slowly cleaning it out. They clean it out every day. And slowly the metal and the rust is reducing. So they love the idea. We just have to design a special scrubber for them that they don't have to clean every day, and they pick up everything. So we're going to a multi-rod scrubber. And then PAL is going to probably put some kind of filtration media to clean up whatever is left. That's just some results that we had in Italy. I thank you all. I hope that gives you some idea of what we're doing over here. And I don't know if there's any questions. I'd be happy to answer them.
Yes. New technologies in Europe right now, what the trends are.
That's a big question. But Europe right now is going away from diesel. There are a lot of countries that are saying around 2020, 2021, they don't want to have diesel cars anymore, like Norway, Sweden, those kind of countries. So they're going away from that kind of hydrocarbon emissions. The factories, industrial factories, are still producing these emissions. So anything that you can do to reduce it, it's quite important. They don't have the same idea about the carbon footprint as the United States does, you know. But we're trying to do more recuperation, biodegradability of products, and I don't know if there is any regulation that can help on filtration things. Of course, the less filters you have to throw away and discard of, you know, or dispose of, that's of course much better. Having a system that can clean itself or that you can manually clean is fantastic.
I'll just hang
Yes, I have solid gas. The only thing I can mention is we have it on biogas, like Jan Bakker gas engines, where they use landfill gas or biogas to produce methane. And we do it on the lube system, the lube oil system, not much on the gas. But we have some Y strainers on some of these new compressor units from a company called Biocomp that sends these compressors all around the world, and they're putting some Y strainers to protect the gas that comes into the compressor. I don't have any results yet because one's in Malaysia, one's in the Philippines, and some in the north of Italy. But as soon as I have results, I'll send it to you. But they put the Y strainer on the entrance of the gas into the compressor, and then we have some lube oil scrubbers on the natural gas engines, and that's pretty solid gas because it's, you know, it's high with H2S. But as far as I've seen, the filters, the Advantage 9000, are not affected at all by the solid gas. I don't know if it's the same kind of solid gas you're talking about, though.
It is. That's great. Thank you. Does anybody else have any other questions that we can put out for our Alex? No? Okay, great. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and end this call then.